They are everywhere. Algorithms are there in the social media apps we use every day, in search engines, even in dating apps. In this episode, we will talk about what they actually are, or how they work, or who makes them. Should we be worried about them and can they think for themselves? Rather than being baffled about these questions, let's go and find out. Hi, welcome to Glitch, a podcast exploring tech news, how stuff works, innovation in our day-to-day technology, and the news surrounding them. I'm your host Vikram. I'm so excited that you are here. Thanks for joining with me today. Hello everyone. It's been a long time since I recorded my last episode. I do have a lot of reasons to escape, but honestly I've been preparing to talk about this topic since my episode on digital privacy, which is my 5th episode. If you want, you can go back and listen to it. I recently saw a movie called Free Guy. Though its storytelling talks about a different dimension, I really loved the fact how they spoke about coding and intelligence inside a computer. I spent a lot of time typing in my keyboard by telling the computer what to do. And how every small or big in size they come in, they're unbelievably good in following instructions. Unfortunately, I'm not so good in giving them, so most of the time the results are not always efficient. But it's always such a mysterious thing that this piece is made with a lump of metal and the sand or whatever element we call them, arranged in extremely clever ways to do math, logic and powerful calculations, which ultimately allow us to create pretty much whatever we set our minds to. It's kind of bizarre, and I would really like to address how this magic happens, and how computers control our day-to-day life, and should we be concerned. To start with a simple explanation, everything inside a computer brain boils down to something called an algorithm. Algorithms are in everything we do, but for those who are inclined towards math and programming, the term algorithm is less than clear. In fact, we developers use this word algorithm when we don't want to explain what we have done. So you might have heard this term before, even used it. But what is an algorithm exactly? In essence, algorithms are simply a series of instructions that are followed step by step to do something useful or to solve a problem. A good way to think of them is as in instruction manuals telling the computers how to compute and how to complete a given task or manipulate a given data. Computer algorithms work via input and output. They take the input and they apply each step of the algorithm, and the information they generate is an output. For example, a search engine is an algorithm that takes a search query as an input and searches its database for items relevant to the words in the query, and then it outputs the results. You can easily visualize an algorithm as a flowchart. The input leads to steps and questions that needs handling in order. When each section of the flowchart is completed, the generated result is an output. Now coming to the important question, why should someone care about algorithms, which is in a way making their lives better? Let's take an example of YouTube. YouTube video recommendations work exactly based on these set of algorithms. Have you ever wondered how YouTube always finds the right channel with the relevant content you are looking for? Or sometimes YouTube might bring up a random channel out of nowhere and you might find it really interesting. All these recommendations work based on algorithms which basically apply artificial intelligence and machine learning to the data they obtain from you and the content creators. So if I am someone who has invested on YouTube and planning to generate revenue from my channel, I need to upload contents consistently for the YouTube algorithm to even consider my channel for recommending my videos. And hence, to survive in such a platform, I need to follow the trends and the content which my audience, in this case, my algorithm is asking me to do. For someone who is doing this as a mainstream income, they have the rules dictated by the current society, which is controlled by these algorithms. I also saw a wonderful documentary called Coded Bias, where it talks about facial recognition algorithm and how they determine if a person is a threat or not. So for example, the police made an algorithm which will identify criminals or person of threat. But interestingly, the algorithm was always finding the black people as a red list or a threat. They did find out all these AI and ML software treats the white and black differently. And because of this, all the companies which rely on these software get incorrect data. Now the question arises, are these AI and ML algorithms racist? Well, it's not the case. We need to think about who inputs these data and who writes these algorithms. And at the end of the day, it's another human being sitting at the other end controlling the output of these softwares. And hence, the code get biased by the human who is coding it. I would say it's not the algorithm which is controlling the world. Right now, our AI engines are not so intelligent that they have evolved their own consciousness. It's the human who owns these algorithms that controls the world. This is quite interesting problem statement which our generation needs to overcome. And big tech companies and computer scientists need to come together to avoid such ethical issues. Now, coming to the end of this episode, I did not record this to explain how computer algorithms work or 101s of computer algorithms. I wanted to educate my followers or anyone who is listening to this and tell them that we have become a part of this new information era. All of our data, online footprints and user activities are constantly studied or recorded by machines across the world. Finding a job, getting a loan or finding a match in Tinder, algorithms control a lot of outcomes in our lives already. But for the algorithms to serve us and the future well, we cannot passively float along without understanding how they shape our world. If you think of your click as your vote, then you can deliberately tell an algorithm to give me more of this or that. Very often by looking at what you clicked on last, you can see how this can easily start to reshape the media you consume. Right now, algorithms do control a lot of our world. But the more we know about them, the more we know how they are acting out there. The first step is not being overwhelmed, and the second is asking companies to take a look at their algorithms. In order to do this, we have to understand them enough to have an intelligent conversation about them. We can't ask for a change or know that there's something that needs changing if we don't understand it. Nor can we have reasonable conversations to ask for the things to change without a basic understanding of those things. We don't need an algorithm-free future, but we can start to confront our own very human biases as we code and create it. Thank you so much for listening to Glitch. Let me meet you in next interesting episode. Until then, it's bye from Vikram. Stay tuned to Glitch and be safe. Ciao.